Hey everyone, Austin here again with another Let's Play video. Today it's going to be the Super Nintendo version of Prince of Persia. Now Prince of Persia was originally a computer game by Jordan Mechner. You'd eventually get a port to a Japanese computer called the PC-98 by Arsys Software. Arsys Software did that. That version would later be the basis for a lot of other Japanese developed home conversions like the Sega Mega CD and the PC Engine CD and the FM Towns computer version, etc., etc. Arsys would eventually come back and do a Super Nintendo version of Prince of Persia for Konami. At least Konami published it in North America. I believe someone else published it in Japan. And it basically took, that game that Arsys had originally, converted and took elements from that and it expanded upon them. So for instance, like the princess's design and Jafar's design right here is very similar to the PC-98 and thus the Mega CD and TurboGrafx CD versions, etc., etc. The Super Nintendo one, however, has been heavily expanded. You got more realistic looking visuals. It'll be a little more obvious once we're actually playing the game. The stage layouts have been expanded upon, so the original small levels are now much larger and much more devious, much more dangerous. The level total has been upped from 12 or 13 all the way to 20. They've even got a training stage as well, which wasn't in other versions of the game. So some pretty interesting stuff here. Now the question is this the ideal version of Prince of Persia to play? It really depends on how much patience you have, because this is a very frustrating version of the game. Like I said, there are a lot more traps and things like that. The level design is much more devious, and thus it is much more challenging. And if you have a lack of patience, this might not be the best version for you to play. But if you want the most content, this is by far, the largest classic Prince of Persia package you can really find. So this is actually a demonstration, I believe, of the training level. So that right there is a potion that permanently extends your health. We're going to find a couple of those throughout the course of the game. Obviously, as you can see, you can latch on the ledges and climb up and jump and things like that. You got falling platforms, spikes that can kill you, and yeah, you can kind of actually already see how crazy some things can get in this game. Here's the chompers, which we're going to see a bunch throughout the course of the game. And, alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and hit the start button. We're going to jump right into the game. Of course, as usual, before I start this off, I'd like to give a big shout out to my current Patreon backers. All of you guys out there, thank you for your continued support. I hope you guys enjoy getting these videos early and ad-free. If you're interested in supporting this show through Patreon, as always, links are in the description box below. I'm also going to flash by the recent Super Chatters from my Thursday night live streams. If you ever want to come hang out on the live stream, it's Thursday nights. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys for your direct donations there as well. And again, I hope you guys continue to enjoy the content as well as the streams. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the game. So unlike the Sega CD version that I covered a few weeks back, or even maybe last week, I don't know when I'm going to post these, there are no speed adjustments in this game, so you're basically playing at the exact same speed every time you fire the game up. But if you saw that Let's Play, you'll notice that the visuals in this game are much more detailed. It's really a beautiful looking game on the Super Nintendo. It's, yeah, really fantastic looking. The gameplay is basically the same though, if not more responsive in this one. Whoops! Okay, not a good way to start. But yeah, I mean, the visuals look fantastic in this one, compared to the other home conversions. And I'd say the gameplay is definitely a little more responsive because of the more consistent frame rate and things like that. The game actually does slow down a little bit later on. There's going to be some moving objects like conveyor belts and things like that. And combined with enemies on screen at the same time, as well as you moving around, it really starts to slow the game down quite a bit. So that was actually a really bad start. What I noticed is that when I try to live stream or play Prince of Persia live, either on a live stream or in a Let's Play, I have to really shut up. Otherwise, I don't focus. I do things differently than I would normally do them. So yeah. But yeah, this is an example right here of the levels being expanded upon. So if this was any other version of Prince of Persia, the sword would be here and we would just work our way back. But not in this one. In this one, we have to come all the way down here into the caverns, and there's going to be a sword down here. And that is how we get the sword in this game. And you want to make sure you don't fall down, because you will most likely die. This is several stories high. So yeah, one of the really cool things about this version of Prince of Persia is definitely a lot more atmospheric than the other versions of the game. Again, the levels are much more open. You know, you come down here and there's bodies hanging, and you see just like the distance in the caverns, and it's just a much larger feeling game than other versions of Prince of Persia are. Which is one of the really cool things about this version, one of the reasons I like playing this version of Prince of Persia. It's just really neat. Like I said, again, from a gameplay perspective, though, it can be extremely frustrating. For one, if you're trying to beat this game in one sitting, it's going to take you a lot longer than any other version of classic Prince of Persia, and thus, it'll start to wear on you. You know, I don't care who you are, but by the end of the game, you're probably going to be wishing for it to be over, because it's just so long. And that's even more true, I think, if you die quite a few times. If you die a bunch, you got to restart the level over again. And once you've restarted levels over a bunch of times, you know, it starts to grate on your nerves. And so we'll kind of see how this playthrough goes. Because of the longer length of the game, the more open and lengthier stages, Prince of Persia on Super Nintendo does give you double the time. So in the original game, you only got 60 minutes to complete the game. The Super Nintendo version, you get 2 hours. So, and that's just if you get the good ending. You've got to beat the game in under 2 hours to get the good ending, and thus fight the actual final boss. You can actually play longer than the 60 minutes, but you'll get the bad ending once you get to the end of the game, and you won't fight the final boss. And that's basically how the other versions of this game operated as well. So while you've got a time limit in this game, the game doesn't stop when the time runs out. It doesn't stop at all. It allows you to keep going and finish the game, but you'll get the bad ending. So we're going to hope to get the good ending. But things can go wrong, and I can die a lot. So combat basically works by you pressing A or Y to attack. You can press up, or I believe B, to basically attempt a parry. And certain areas will have switches that will shut gates and switches that will open gates. So the idea here is to jump over the one that closes the gate. You can also reverse your way around enemies, like so. And then you can try to push them off ledges. Bam, just like that. I tried actually doing that in my Sega CD Let's Play, but it failed. We're going to actually come down this way, and you need to go the top way, but coming down this way gives you a health extension, which is good. So this is another example of stages being expanded upon. So in the Sega CD one, or you know, the Arsys PC98 version, you basically jump over here. There's a guard. You have to fight the guard, but there's no life extension underneath there. So you can really see how things have been expanded in this. I might have to do a video comparing, you know, two different versions of Prince of Persia against, or a version of Prince of Persia against the Super Nintendo one, just because it's so interesting to see how they've expanded things in this version. It really is interesting to see. Oh god, I pushed the wrong freaking button, man. I'm not focused right now. I actually just recorded my Sega CD long play of this game, or Let's Play of this game. So basically what happened is I played through the whole hour or hour and a half or whatever that was to do that whole Let's Play. And now I'm doing this back to back, and I am not paying attention right now. My brain is already fried. So this is one of those situations where I probably should have waited on this Let's Play. But the fact is I'm just I've got this fresh on my mind. The last 2 nights on Twitch, I beat this game twice, and then I used level select codes to practice the final boss over and over again and so forth. So, you know, I was like, now is the best time to record this. I mean, I guess I could sleep on it still a little bit further, but I do have some time to kill today. And when I've got time to kill like that, I like to try to record these Let's Plays. It's better to record these Let's Plays when I've got lots of time to burn, and, you know, versus times where I don't have a lot of time to burn and I've only got one chance of doing a Let's Play. Like, if I mess up too badly here, I can at least stop and start over and try to re-record. I mean, I've got a few hours before I have to, you know, be at work or deal with any other forms of obligations. So that's kind of why I'm doing this right now. But I feel really bad making 2 really awful mistakes like that. It's also gonna, you know, look poorly on my... I have a gameplay no-talk channel. So this is my gameplay and talk channel, but, you know, about a year ago I started a gameplay no-talk channel where I take my Let's Play footage and I basically just upload them as straight long plays. You know, it doesn't get many views, but it's a way to... you know, make better use of my footage here. So not only am I recording this for my Let's Plays, but that footage can also go towards my straight long play videos on my alternate channel. So I also, you know, I think about that too when I make mistakes during my Let's Plays. I'm like, oh geez, that's gonna look embarrassing in a long play. It's gonna look like a noob is playing it. It's one thing to make mistakes during a live Let's Play because you're trying to talk and play at the same time, you're trying to explain things, and so dying might not be as big of a deal to the viewer, and the viewer might even think it's interesting because it's a little more realistic. It's like, well, this is what playing a game might be like if your wife is bugging you, or your kids are yelling at you, or your cat is howling at you, or your dog is wanting to go for a walk or something. You're trying to focus on the game, but you can't, and you end up dying as a result. But a long play, there's a different, I think, perception with long play videos. You know, they're commentary-less, and thus people, I think, expect better gameplay on long plays. So, all right, so a bit of a secret up here, and this is where we experience the chompers for the first time. And I want to test something here. Let's see. Okay, it does work like this. So basically, you can just tiptoe your way past these things. Holding on the A button allows you to tiptoe. And if you're not perfectly flush with those, doing your tiptoe will actually put you up perfectly flush with them. And this is another life extend. And this is why you'd want to come up here. You'd get that life extend. Now, going back is a lot easier. Now, what's interesting is in other versions of the game, it's actually harder to go back than it is to go through it the first time. So basically the patterns of those things is reverse from other versions of the game, which is interesting. So it's harder to go through them the first time, and then it's easier to go through them the second time. Like, you don't have to tiptoe your way back. Okay, so that switch we just flipped over there is, it activates this gate. And we need to quickly bolt over here. This is one of the first instances in the game where you really have to rush like that. And there's the old skeleton, and what I really like about this version of the game is, again, it's got that more realistic graphic style. So all the skeletons you see and things like that, they look more bony. They're not like drawn in like this fat, chunky manner. They definitely look great in this game. This switch over here is going to open up our exit down below, and so we're going to go ahead and just work our way back. So, now, you know, I haven't really been explaining a whole lot in this game. My Sega CD Let's Play was probably better for, like, learning the basics of Prince of Persia. You know, part of that reason is just, like, you know, I did this immediately after, and now I'm kind of brain dead. But basically, you can run and jump. You can press up to jump up and grab on the ledges. Pressing B will just make you jump straight forward, no matter what. And... wow. So that was dumb of me to do, but that was a good example too. So one of the gameplay elements in Prince of Persia is if you run into a battle and you don't have your sword out, you will die instantly. Now, when you get hit by other swords during battle, you just lose 1 hit point, basically. If you don't have your sword out and an enemy swipes you with their sword, you die instantly in 1 hit. And it was actually kind of good I died there, because this is one of the few parts in the game where there's actually a checkpoint. I'm not sure why they decided to do it halfway through this level and not halfway through other levels which were equally as long. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But, yeah, so what I wanted to do is just fall straight down like this, and we're gonna knock this guy over, just like in other versions of this game. Just like so. And we're gonna take our time, just tiptoe down here. And this is another example of, you know, areas in the Super Nintendo one being expanded upon. I mentioned this in my Sega CD Let's Play. In the Sega CD Let's Play, you're supposed to... not Let's Play, but the Sega CD version... Are you kidding me? Are you freaking... It did this in my Sega CD game. I'm just gonna dance here then. I'm just gonna dance. I don't even care. He's supposed to fall down. What are the chances, man? I mean, seriously, what are the chances of this same thing happening in 2 Let's Plays back to back? Okay, well, I have a feeling he's probably gonna swipe me, but we're gonna try to do the exact same thing. So... wow! Twice... okay, well, what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to knock him down. You're supposed to knock him down. He falls down, and then he gets crushed. But he's still hanging out up there. I've never... wow, so basically in my Sega CD Let's Play, that exact same thing happened. And I had never experienced that before in my life in Prince of Persia. It has never happened before. But it just happened twice. Once in my Sega CD Let's Play, and then now in the Super Nintendo one. I've never seen it happen, ever. That is actually kind of crazy. So some of you guys might be like, why are you shocked? It's just because I've never seen it happen. And then it just happened twice in 2 separate versions of the game. Just what are the chances of that? Man. Okay, so now we've got our first level change. One of the cool things about the Super Nintendo version is that it's got way more level themes and music than other versions of the game do, like the River Hill Soft versions, which is basically like the PC Engine CD versions, FM Towns, you know, the Mega CD and so forth. I think it's River Hill Soft. Basically, those versions, they just alternate between the same 2 themes over and over. So it'll go 3 levels, 1 theme, 3 levels, another theme, and then it'll go back to the first theme and the first theme's music. So one of the great things about the Super Nintendo one is just there's lots of different themes in this game, lots of different music. Much of it is, you know, pretty awesome. My brother and I in particular have always really enjoyed this theme, you know, the graphic style, and as well as the, you know, the music in the background. It's fairly energetic for music in this game. And I love the, you know, the moving sky in the background. That's just something that was added into the Super Nintendo version to give it an extra element of, you know, visual flair and ambiance and whatnot. It's just really nice. So you can actually knock this guy down. I don't think it's really necessary to go back, so we're just going to let him chill there for, well, for the rest of the game, actually. And we're going to come on over here. So again, combat basically works as, you know, attacking then counter-attacking. And that is pretty much the combat in a nutshell. So down there, you'll notice that there's some spikes. We're going to actually go down there eventually. And I think that's going to be the back way to the exit. This might be one of those levels where you can access the exit in, you know, from multiple directions. And that's really cool because, you know, the other versions of Prince of Persia, you don't really have that. Now, I'm gonna be risky here, but I want to say I can just drop down like so. Yep, just like that. And there we go. Yeah, so you'll notice that there's gates from both sides of the screen. I'm pretty sure you can get to this exit from the other side as well. You just kind of find the route that you want to take and take it. So that route I just went is the way I'm familiar with getting through this level. You'll notice that this game is also password-based. So after every level, you'll be given a password. And one thing that's kind of nice is that you can actually... let's see. You can go to game end, but back on the title screen, if you go to the password option, it'll automatically load up the last level's password that you were at. So you can end your game, but the password will still be there, as long as you don't power off the system. Okay, so we basically just did that. I basically wanted to kill that guard. So there's no way to get over if that guard is there. So you need to come over to this side. There's going to be a floor switch there that would have closed the gate. And we don't need that potion. That potion right there will basically just give us a health point back, but our health is full, so it's not going to do anything for us. And so if I want to, what I can do is come down here, like so. And so you can kind of see what I mean. Like, you'd have to come back this way, but the guard would be there, the guard would kill us, guaranteed. We would jump over, he'd swipe us before we even were able to pull our swords out. And just like in other versions of Prince of Persia, you can just scoot by the enemies and, you know, again, like I said earlier, knock them off or knock them into a chomper or something like that. I'm gonna just tap like that. That was actually kind of risky. I actually recommend not doing what I just did there. So basically you can just tap and you just sort of like skid a little bit, kind of like this, but it's very risky. You gotta time it just right. Otherwise you might find yourself skidding just enough to over the edge and dying. So here's another example here of just the, you know, the game being expanded. This whole area, the columns in the ocean, or it's probably not the ocean, it's probably like a big lake or something, I don't know. You see it in the background, it's just very cool. It adds to the overall just feel of the game. And one other thing that's really cool is things like this were added in. So in other versions of a game, just a mirror appears out of nowhere. But in this one, it sort of sets up the mirror gimmick that's going to happen. So you see a mirror here. You come down here, there's another mirror, like so. So the theming definitely works best, I think, in the Super Nintendo version of Prince of Persia. They really, you know, brought the levels to life, I think, more than other versions of the game. And so this is basically where the switch is for your exit, but the gimmick is that when you come back up, another mirror has appeared. And the idea is to run and jump through the mirror, and that makes your doppelganger appear, just like so. And like I mentioned in my Sega CD Let's Play, he basically just runs around the castle like a jackass, kind of playing tricks on you. That was actually really close. I probably shouldn't have jumped through like that. A couple pixels over and I would have fallen down to my death. Alright, so we're going to come over, I believe, this way. So that potion all the way over to the right, it's got this blue, you know, blue fumes coming out of it. That'll actually hurt you. That'll take away health. So you don't want to grab that. That's some trollish level design right there. And we're going to work our way up here. I think we might actually have to go down. I think there's going to be an enemy right here. Yeah. Let's see if we can just knock him off. There he goes, just like that. And there's another guy, we're dead. Yeah, so you're supposed to go the other way around. You're not supposed to go the way I just did. But it is good to kind of go up just to kill that one guy first. It's not necessary, but it's something you can do. Yeah, so like I said, you've got 2 hours to get through this game. It says we have 100 minutes left, so we've already played through 20 minutes, which is not fantastic time considering that we died a bunch of times in the early stages. The early stages are easier stages in the game, so you know there's really no reason to die like I did. But really, I don't think it's too big of a deal. I think we'll still be fine, hopefully. There are a couple of levels towards the end of the game that are just so annoying, especially the actual final platform level in the game. It's just extremely irritating, is the way to put it. It's just very, very irritating. And I don't think anything here is actually necessary. There aren't any switches or anything we have to flip, so we're going to go ahead and just come back this way. There we go. And we're going to come over here, flip this switch, and jump back. And this could be a tricky one. It's one of those where you've only got a few moments to get through this gate. And let's jump down like that. You can grab up like so. And this is going to be one of those ceiling tiles we have to break loose. There's a lot of that throughout the course of this game. And that was very, very typical in classic Prince of Persia as well. You know, even the original computer game by Jordan Mechner had that. And this is brand new. This is a boss fight. So there are boss fights thrown throughout the course of this game. And they basically operate like normal sword fights for the most part, with a few exceptions. But these bigger, you know, these bosses that have swords, you'll find yourself just getting into a parry frenzy with the boss. And it starts off relatively tame with that first female boss, and it gets much more difficult as other bosses appear later on throughout the game. And just like other versions of the game, you've got this cutscene. I feel like this cutscene is handled better in the Super Nintendo one, though. For one, it looks better than other versions. Two, it just fades in. It uses that that pixelated effect, thanks to the the Super Nintendo's video hardware. And it just goes in fast. It comes out fast. It's very nice. Whereas like the Sega CD version, there's a little bit of oops, I wasn't expecting that. In the Sega CD one, there's actually a little bit of like load time and things like that, so it's not quite as snappy. So it's one of the nice things about this version of the game. Alright, let's try that again. So what I'm going to do is actually just do a running jump this time, just like so. Yeah, I don't think it's actually possible to do a normal jump across that. I think with a normal jump, you can only jump basically 2 tiles worth. Kind of like this right here, if you want to just grab onto it. And this is going to be a falling platform right there. And we're going to go ahead and just jump through like this. And we're going to come down here. So this is very similar to other versions of the game as well. You know, this level progresses very similar, but there's a whole lot that's been added as well. You want to make sure that we don't knock this guy down, otherwise it's going to be tough to deal with that next section. I don't think it's even possible to deal with the next section, because you'll jump down and he'll sword swipe you and you'll die instantly. So there's a lot of things to think about in this game like that as well. Bam, just like that. And we could come up here if we wanted to. It's not really necessary. If you go in and flip that switch, a gate closes behind you, and then you have to work your way up, and it's not worth your time. We're just gonna knock him down, like so. And I feel like I don't really need that potion. I mean, I've got 5 hit points left, so I'm not gonna waste the time. And there's another one over there. You know, some of these parts you can go down and just hang and just see what's down below. It's like, oh, yeah, no, I definitely don't want to go there. It's one of the fun things about Prince of Persia. Oh, and look at that. There's our doppelganger. So the same thing basically happens in other versions of the game where there's a screen where your doppelganger comes up and steals a potion. And the way the Super Nintendo one handles it is just, it's a little bit different. And there we go, there's our exit. So you'll notice there's a bit of the level that we just skipped over as well. And, you know, it's one of the great things about Prince of Persia is you can try to explore the levels to their fullest. There are hidden rooms, there are hidden life extends and things like that. The life extends are the important, you know, aspects to that. Let's actually come here first, to the left. Yeah, we actually don't need to come... No, we do, actually. There's going to be a hidden room up here, so... Yeah, you don't actually have to come to the left, and... You know, this level design is a little confusing. I used to try to get over to the right from the left-hand side, and it's... I don't even think it's possible. It actually might be possible. But, basically what we want is this illusory wall. You just walk right through it. And here's a life extend. And then we just work our way back down. And just like so. Now I think that switch to the far right is probably necessary. Yeah, it is. There we go. Okay, I was wrong. No, you can do your regular jump across 3 tiles worth. But you're gonna have to hang. Okay, so this part right here, this left block is gonna fall. We need to make sure we just go straight up like this. And there's gonna be a few fights here as well. Now this is an example of an area where you can just pin the guys up against the wall. Once you've got them pinned up against the wall, it's guaranteed hits. And there's going to be a switch right here. I think it's going to open up this bottom gate. We are going to go the top route, but right now we need to go the bottom route. Whoa, why didn't he... Dude, there's some really weird things going on with this game right now. He was supposed to land on the other side of the platform. And this is why you want to tiptoe your way all the way as far to the edge of the platform as you possibly can. So, like, here's an example, right? Let's come up here. So... Okay, I made it that time. But I didn't make it that time. It looked like I was close, but I wasn't. So if you hold down A next to an edge... And then you notice how I tipped over just like a couple of like pixels. And same right here. Bam. See, now I made it. Now what's interesting is that if you tiptoe over, if you do it again, your character won't fall off. He'll make an animation basically saying, whoa, I'm about to fall off. When he does that animation, doing it again will make you fall off. But it's just a way basically to... know that, okay, you're as far over as you can get, and now you can jump, just like so. So let's do it again, bam. Okay, so he does the animation, then you know you can jump safely. And that's how you want to play this game. If you play it fast, like I am, like, oh, I'm just a couple pixels away, I'll still make the jump. No, you won't. You'll die, you know, half the time. So, and then you got to do the whole level over again. And in a Let's Play, it's embarrassing. So you guys, all you guys out there can leave comments down below and say, shame on you, Austin, for playing too quickly. You know, like, practice what you preach, Austin. Jeez, you're always telling us about playing smart and playing games safely, yet here you are, just wasting our time, dying left and right. Oh no, just like that. See, I just did it again. Now you should really leave a comment below and tell me what a loser I am. Alright, we're gonna just, no, you see, I really want this health extend, though. Like, I don't get that many health extends, because most of them are secret. Like this one up here. So I really want to get this health extend. So, alright, we're gonna take our time this time, guys. We're gonna take our time. And this is what you gotta deal with when you play Prince of Persia, is that the second, like, you lose your focus, it's game over, you know? It's not necessarily game over. I mean, yeah, you died, but the repetition really rears its ugly head when you stop paying attention. When you stop paying attention is when you start doing dumb things and dying left and right. So we're going to take our time. We're not going to play risky, just like so. And we're going to stop. One thing I always do when I play this game is I stop after I cross a screen. Now, there are a few points in the game where it's mandatory to keep running. Like, either there's falling platforms, or there's falling platforms on the next screen. And there we go. So we're just gonna tiptoe our way. We're gonna play it safe, and then we're gonna stop. Just like this, see? It's not rocket science. Although with how some of these games operate, it might actually appear like rocket science. Jeez. There we go, just like that. I'm gonna flip this switch and then come right back down. One of the things that is really interesting about, you know, a game like Prince of Persia, though, is that if you're the kind of person that likes to bounce between version to version, that will kind of screw with your mind, because the controls are always slightly altered from version to version. You know, certain buttons are in different spots, certain buttons will do different things like that, and I think that's also messy with my mind a little bit. Alright, so now we need to come up here and go to the right, and we're actually getting close to the end of this stage, fortunately. Now I actually want to veer him over this way because I want to go ahead and get that potion just in case. I don't think I'm going to need it, but, you know, at this point, better safe than sorry. There we go. And that was risky, but when that happens, make sure you're holding down the A button. That'll make sure that you're grabbing onto the ledge. Doesn't always work, but most of the time it does work. Let's see if we can just push him down like so. Okay, he wasn't really defending at all, which is kind of odd for enemies at this point in the game. I don't think we're actually supposed to go this way, by the way. Yeah, we're not supposed to go this way. What I could have done is actually come from this direction. That's actually one thing I do. So that platform sort of above on the other room, you can actually come from the top. It'll fall. And then you can grab onto the ledge and come basically this way that I'm going right now. And here's the exit. Now we just need to find this. Okay, I'm totally doing something wrong now. I'm making it look like I'm a Prince of Persia noob. Like, seriously. Okay, so we actually, I think, need to come back. We might actually have to come from the other way, which is annoying. Now I'm confusing myself. Yep, there it is. So we actually have to come here, hold down A. Bam, just like that. That opens up our gate near the end. So you can really see how some of this level design just gets really obtuse as the game progresses. And trust me, this is just the start of it. We've only got 85 minutes left. How many levels are we? See, yeah, doing that trick basically allowed this gate to open. That is not required in other versions of the game, so that's just a small example of how, in some cases, this game was opened up, maybe not for the better. That's another little thing that happens too, is if you do a full running jump and you hit a wall up in the air, a lot of times you'll fall down and take damage, so you gotta watch out for that. But yeah, some of this level design can get really obtuse in the Super Nintendo version of Prince of Persia. Very irritating, very annoying, and we'll just skip through that. I don't think anything else happens. A lot of those cutscenes, nothing really happens, but there is, you know, a couple of scenes where some things do actually happen. So this is the conveyor belt part I was kind of talking about earlier, where the game actually starts to slow down. It's a very smooth playing game up until parts like these, these are rare, but they do happen. And a lot of times they'll pair them with a battle, which just slows things down even more. So this part's really tricky. You have to do a regular jump at the right time. Ooh, first try, good. That's very easy to fail, and if you do a running jump, you'll land into the spikes and you'll die. Alright, so we need to jump over and grab onto this, just like so. So we have to go up to the top switch. So this level design is kind of becoming a mess at this point. You can see how there's just a lot of, like, things that slow down the game. We're going to take a hit, just like that. And this is actually the level where we fight our doppelganger. And we might actually fight another boss here. This might be the fat guy. Let's see. Oh, let's go ahead and get that health back. Yeah, this is the fat guy. I can see through that gate. We're gonna go outside and then fight Fatty himself. There we go. So this is another one of our bosses. He's actually in the, you know, the original versions by Arsys Software, the guys that did some of the, you know, the PC 98 Japanese computer conversion of the game. And Arsys Software is who made the Super Nintendo version of the game. But it's cool to see that even though they didn't program, like, the subsequent ports of the game, like the PC Engine CD or the Sega Mega CD versions, what they created from the PC 98 version carried over into those versions. And then it came full circle with the Super Nintendo one. And, he's back again. You know, the fat guy is back. A lot of the stuff they created for the PC 98 port is back. So yeah, this is basically what happens. You can try to grab here, and your doppelganger blocks you off. You don't actually have to jump. You can just fall down right from the other side, and you'll go to the next level. And that's the end of that stage. Now, for this next stage, you have to hold down A, otherwise you will die. Bam, just like that. Now, this level is probably one of my least favorite stages in the game. It looks cool, but it can be aggravating, because you have to fight a bunch of these skeletons. And the skeletons can't be killed normally, except for two other specific parts in the game where they can. They're basically treated as boss fights. So you need to focus on getting these skeletons knocked off. Now, you have to be careful here because there are no health refills on this level. So, you know, if you play risky in the beginning, you know, you could end up being towards the end and getting killed. So this skeleton will just take one hit to get knocked down, but then he'll come right back up. And I think there's actually two different ways you can go here. You can either take the left path. I'm more comfortable with taking the right path, so we're just going to do this. Just like so. And we can knock the skeleton off to the right. There are parts where you can't knock them off to the right. You've got to flip around them. Bam. Alright, we're doing well so far, actually. We've only taken one hit. We're going to go ahead and just take it slow here. Okay, we have to do a running jump. So let's come back over here. Just get prepped. Just like that. $80 minutes left. So what stage was this? Was this stage 10? I think this is kind of like the halfway point of the game. Oh, that's right. We need to... Sorry. I'm being dumb. By the way, these skeletons are more aggressive than your standard guards are, which makes them extra annoying to deal with. Okay, so what we're going to do is just tiptoe like that and just play it safe. Because again, no health refills, and if you die at any point, you've got to do this whole level over again. So that's where this level in particular can get really repetitious, because you're going through the same little sections over and over again. There's no real flexibility on how you can go through this level. And we basically have to come over here first, and we're going to have to knock the skeleton off to the left. So something I didn't really mention earlier is if you get a hit deep enough into an enemy, a lot of times you can get a second hit for free, which is nice. So one of the goals that you should have when you're doing combat in this game is to try to get some deep hits, and then that'll let you get an extra free hit, which is very nice. Alright, so I'm going to play this safe. If you do a running jump right here, you'll actually go to the other screen and fall to your death. I did that a couple nights ago. And I think this is one skeleton you can just hit once. I don't think you have to knock him off. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, just like that. And this is the exit. So yeah, the next couple of stages have, you know, a reddish, fiery theme, which is really cool. You know, I loved how the Super Nintendo had such a high color palette, and it was able to really mix up the types of colors used to give you different, like a different feeling. Like your character is even red in this this set of stages, which is really cool. Gives you the feeling that, you know, like everything's really hot. All right, so I think that switch down below is gonna actually. Yeah, we actually have to go the top way. Yeah. I went the wrong way. You know, I'm so, like, scared of dying now, I'm taking everything way slower than I normally do when I play this game. Like, I'm seriously double thinking, double guessing, like, every single move I do. It's just making me look like a Prince of Persia noob, and that's okay. I actually guess I wouldn't call myself an expert. I think at one point I could have called myself an expert, like 20 years ago. I did actually play the Super Nintendo version a lot back in the day. It was one of my favorite Super Nintendo games, and I was able to get some really good times on these stages, but 20 years is a long time without practice to, you know, it's... 20 years is a long time, and a good amount of time to easily lose your magic touch you might have had at one point in time. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is drop this platform, and then... I was going to say grab onto the ledge, but apparently not, so... Okay, I feel like I'm going through this level in a completely different way than I was planning on doing it. So we'll see what happens here. But yeah, like I said, I did play this version a ton back in the day. It was one of my favorite games. And then I got the Sega CD version actually after, and I ended up really enjoying that one as well. I didn't like it as much as the Super Nintendo one, because in a lot of ways it was a downgrade. So Prince of Persia, I originally played on the Super Nintendo. I didn't play it on the original computer or MS-DOS or the Apple II or whatever it was released on. It was released on a bunch of different platforms. I played it on Super Nintendo first, so this is what I was familiar with when it came to Prince of Persia. For the time, the production values were very high. You know, it had that awesome Konami type of look. It was, you know, published by Konami in North America. You know, so when I played the Sega CD one, despite enjoying it, you know, it definitely felt like a downgrade. You know, the graphics were more muddy, the frame rate wasn't as smooth, things like that, you know? And I pressed the wrong button again. I didn't mean to press B when I did. So this is one of those levels where I'm just... I'm really just like losing my attention at this point. So we'll go ahead and just try to take this top path again. Well, this is like one of the downsides to the Prince of Persia on Super Nintendo, though, is that, you know, for someone like me who's like, I'm not 12 anymore, right? Or you know, when did I play this game? I was probably like 11 or 12 when I first played this. It's like I'm not 12 years old anymore. Like my mind doesn't work as sharply as it used to. You know, especially after I've already recorded another Let's Play in this same city, basically. So, like, the larger stages are kind of a detriment to my enjoyment of this game these days. And I know that's a personal problem. You know, if I probably did better things for my health, or didn't play as many video games as I do, I'd be a little more attentive, and I'd get sucked into the experience a little bit more. Much like I did when I was 12. But, so, like, the shorter level design of the original computer release, or, say, the Sega CD version, is actually, you know, kind of beneficial in a way. Like, it's easier for me to focus and retain that focus playing those versions of the game. So, you know, that's where I was saying in the beginning, the Super Nintendo version can really start to wear on you in a single sitting. So, you know, the original versions of the game, you only get an hour to complete the game. The Super Nintendo version, you get 2 hours, and to do those full 2 hours in a single sitting can be rough. Like, in our 2-hour-long journey here, you know, we're only halfway through at this point. We're 53 minutes into my recording, according to OBS. And let's see if I can take this bottom route and pick up this potion. So yeah, whenever I play this game in one single sitting, this is a lot of times where I start, like, losing my focus. The levels are just, you know, they're very long, and yeah, so that falling platform up top did exactly what I wanted it to. It overrode that switch that would normally close this gate. And let's see, what is this? Where does this take us? Down here. And what about over here? Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and kill this guard. Pop, just like that. So basically what we need to do is we need to hit that falling platform right up top. And then grab onto the ledge that we just jumped onto. It's it's a little convoluted and a little confusing. So way more trial and error required in this version than other versions of Prince of Persia, for better or for worse. I think this is still my favorite version of Prince of Persia, but you know, even I can admit that it's got some issues that aren't gonna sit well with everyone. Okay, so what we're going to do is actually come down here and just fall down like so. And I basically think it opens up, yeah, it opens up this gate right here. Now, oh, that's not going to work. Okay, we weren't fast enough, unfortunately. It's okay, we'll do it again. Oh, we have to go all the way around again. See, that's another example of just the kind of annoying level design. There are lots of parts throughout the rest of this game where if you mess something up, you've got to backtrack like this. And it just adds extra time to the playthrough that you don't want to spend on that playthrough. So, yeah, like I said, you know, sound like a broken record, but this game is probably not for the faint of heart. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is just kind of like come through here. Grab up like that, and that should be enough. Yeah, we got it. Okay, cool. But one of the things that is fun with this game, though, and this goes with any version of Prince of Persia, is that when you get really, really familiar with the levels, you can try to speedrun them, basically. You know, it's fun when you really know these levels, and you're jumping over spikes that you would normally, like, take your time to walk through, and just doing some crazy acrobatic-like things. It's one of the things that's great about Prince of Persia. So while it's a really frustrating experience, I think, on a first playthrough, it can be really rewarding at the same time. I mean, not just completing the game on your first playthrough or subsequent playthroughs. It can be really rewarding trying to, like, speed your way through the levels as fast as possible. Any game that requires skill or has elements of skill always feels satisfying to get through, you know, when you get more familiar with them. You basically just get better at the game. That's very satisfying. So this is, you could treat these kind of like the chompers. You'll just tiptoe right up to them and then just tiptoe right past them, like so. This is the safe way to do it. There are faster ways to do it, but this is the safe way to do it. You know what's funny? I didn't know you could actually do this. As long as I've been playing Prince of Persia, I had no idea you could just tiptoe right up to the chompers and the flames and whatnot, until just in my recent stream sessions, you know, a few nights ago. You know, basically practicing for this run, and so yeah, very, very good to know. I used to think that you had to just like run all the way through and try to jump at the right time, which you can do. It's entirely possible, but it's extremely risky. So speaking of extremely risky, there's a part at the end of this level which is probably just going to blow some of your minds, and then it's followed up by a sort of a mini boss fight. And there's going to be some leaps of faith required on this level as well. So notice, look at those platforms down below. We have to actually cross over from the right-hand side, a screen over, and catch onto those. And that guy's dead. We're just going to do a run and jump. And I think we basically have to knock this one down. Yep. And there's going to be a floor panel there that we have to not touch, and I touched it. You know, when I did my Sega CD Let's Play, I did the exact same thing. I'm going to try it again. Bam, just like that. So in the Sega CD one, I told you that, like, you had to, you know, climb down and fall. Well, in this one, you can actually just fall down. You've got a platform there that, you know, you can land on. You don't have to, like, fall down and then hang again on the bottom section. We do have to flip this switch, though. Wait, I thought there was a switch. What am I doing wrong? This game, I tell you. Alright, let's come over here. That's right. So the Sega CD Let's Play, I sort of pointed out that there was a room just like this, but it was split between two screens. On the Super Nintendo one, it's altered to where they're both on the same screen. You know, the top hallway and the bottom hallway are on the same screen. But we actually need to come up here, I forgot. In the Sega CD one, this room, this area, doesn't exist. So in the other versions of the game, you flip that switch down and you just walk back to the right. Not in the case of this one. Alright, now we come back down, back this way. And basically what that did is, that's going to allow us to drop down below. Because there were spikes. There was no way to drop down below with the spikes there. But now, we can drop down below, right here. Just like so. And I don't think we have to go to the right. We can just go straight to the left. Going to the left... wow, I'm getting dyslexic now. Going to the right gives you a few different potions you can pick up for health refills. This is the leap of faith I was talking about. We're just gonna fall down here like this and jump over here. Kill this guy. So you can really see how this level design is becoming quite devious and devilish. It is, the developers just really went, you could say above and beyond with this level design, but you could also say they really went overboard. Like, some of the crap they make you do, it's crap. It's like, why am I doing this? The game's at least unique for that, though. I mean, there weren't a whole lot of games in this style back in the day that were just absolutely balls to the wall crazy like this game is. It's really something. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is not go over there. We're gonna walk all the way to here, and drinking this potion allows us to float safely down to the bottom. So we're just gonna fall like this. And there's another potion right there as well. Alright, so brace yourselves. So I'm going to try something here. It's entirely possible to just run straight through, and that's what I'm going to try. If it doesn't work this time, we'll have to do the whole level over again, and then tiptoe our way through. Oh, I got chomped by the last one. You're kidding me. You're absolutely kidding me. Alright, well we gotta do that whole level over again. So next time what I'll do is I'll just tiptoe my way through. But it is entirely possible to just run straight through if you time it right. And we pretty much verified that. When I originally played this game, we were using the SNES Classic that I hacked. And so I was able to use save states and things like that to experiment at certain points in the game. We are playing on an original Super Nintendo right now. That's how I like to record my Let's Plays. I like to use the original hardware. Although I did think about using the SNES Classic to do this playthrough, but I figured original hardware would have been the better way to go. But yes, we did verify many times that you can just run straight through those chompers. But this is just kind of like another example of what I'm talking about, though, where it's like how, in a way, the developers just went kind of overboard with this version of the game. It's really absurd at points. Like, what you have to do just to progress through the levels, and the sorts of challenges just you have to go up against. It's really absolutely crazy. So you go through all this stuff that I showed you, and then you get to the end, and there's an entire room of chompers, back to back. It's absurd. It's exactly what it is. The first time I saw that last section, I just kind of like put the controller down and was just like, what? Like, why is this even in here? Yeah, it's really a crazy version of Prince of Persia. Really crazy version. Okay, so we're just gonna keep going. And like I said, we'll basically play it safe the next time we get to that section. But I wanted to try to demonstrate that it is possible to just run straight through. When I was a kid, I would try to run and jump straight through, and it was really a crapshoot on whether I would actually be able to, you know, get past that section or not. I used to think when I was a kid that getting the potions that turns you to a different color and allows you to float, I used to think that those would actually like make you invincible, and you'd be able to just, you know, go through the chompers that way. But it doesn't actually operate like that. The potion is just there to make you float down, and that was in the original Prince of Persia as well. You know, the potion concept where you drink the potion and you're able to float down to safety. And it was in, you know, the other versions of Prince of Persia as well, the other home ports. But when I was a kid, again, this was my first Prince of Persia, so I saw that it changed your color. I thought that maybe it made you invincible as well. But it doesn't. I'm gonna try something here too. We're gonna fall down like so. And grab this. Yeah, that's a health extend. I had a feeling that was a health extend. It's just, it's not another one of these floating potions. It's a health extend. I always thought it was a second floating potion. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is just do it like this. Brutal. I was tense the entire time doing that. But here's a good example, though, of being able to corner an enemy. Assuming we can actually kill him. Jeez, man. Stop being aggressive. Thank you. Yeah, so I mean, like, you go through all that, and you have to fight a mini-boss. It's like, really? Really? Yeah, that's probably the worst level in the game, for that. I mean, other levels later on are just as long, if not longer, but that level in particular, I think is just the worst combination of traps and confusing level design, bosses, just the whole shebang all in one level. So this set of stages can be really confusing as well, and honestly, the rest of the game is pretty confusing. It's yet you know one of those downsides that Super Nintendo Prince of Persia has compared to other versions of the game is that, you know, these levels in the original Prince of Persia, like the computer versions or the early, you know, other console ports, these levels are so much more manageable and easier to get through. But the Super Nintendo version is just cranks it up to 11, and some people will think that it's better for that. Other people will think that, oh geez, I don't have the patience for this game. And there's a lot of combat strewn between, you know, all of these areas as well, which can really slow things down too. Yeah, so we don't want to fall down to the left. But I believe we can come down here. I don't know if this is necessary quite yet. We might have had to go right. I don't remember. Again, like yeah, I have to go right. It's very difficult to commit these levels to memory. unfortunately, because they're just so much larger than the original Prince of Persia. And there we go. So that was supposed to let me hang on to the ledge there to the left. It didn't. And what I found in the Super Nintendo version is it feels like some of the physics are inconsistent compared to other versions I played, like the Sega CD version. So if that was the Sega CD version, I probably would have been able to grab onto the ledge to the left. And you can in the Super Nintendo version, you've just got to be, you know, if you're like an extra pixel or two to the right, it's not going to let you. And, which gives the game a very inconsistent feel, unfortunately. That's okay, rinse and repeat. My only thing is, I really want to get the good ending. I feel like there's not going to be any point in going through this playthrough without getting the good ending. So I need to step up my game and not die, because we're actually wasting a lot of time by constantly dying like this. I'm gonna try this again. A lot of times you can just do a little turn like that. And now we can fall down, like so. And there's gonna be some spikes right here, so we're gonna just jump over here like that. That wasn't really the right way to do that, but it was a way to do it. Alright, so now we need to come to the right. And this gate is open, which is, we're gonna fall back down like so. And you got two different ways you can go. I'm gonna go ahead and take the top way. Yeah, these levels are super confusing. Just gonna jump straight down like that. Good thing we got a grapple on that. Yeah, so if you guys watched my Sega CD Let's Play of this game, this is the room where you get caught and the mouse comes to save you. Basically, there's a switch that the mouse walks on top of, and it saves you. It frees you, I should say. And this is one of those parts where you've got to make a... Oh, no, it's not. I thought it was the part where you had to make like a mad dash. In the Sega CD version of the game, you do have to make a mad dash. And that's how we exit. And so now we're stuck. And what we're gonna do is pretty much just sit here. Jafar actually comes out in this version. I thought he did in the Sega CD version, but I was confused when I did that Let's Play. And basically, the trick here is just to wait. So that's all we're gonna do. We're just gonna wait. Must be a magic mouse, because I have no idea how that little guy got up here. It's hard enough for me as is. Alright, so now we're gonna take the top way and just work our way up and around. See, now if only this was the first attempt on this level, that would have been nice. Okay, so I'm gonna take it safe right here, and then run and jump, just like so. Now there's gonna be a conveyor belt. I think there was there an enemy up here? I don't know, we're gonna find out. Yeah, I thought there was. And so unfortunately we gotta do a slowdown now, too. which can make this a little bit trickier. Pretty annoying, I will say that. Thank you. Okay, so now we're gonna also have to do, I think, just a standing jump here, just like before. Just like that. Otherwise you'll die. And have to do the whole level over again. Do it with a smile, right? So the game has so many traps at like the very end of a level, and if you mess it up, gotta do the whole level over again. And your timer doesn't reset. It doesn't go back to what it was when you started the level. Every time you restart, that's more time you're taking. Yes, we're 14 levels in. And how much time do we have left? 52 minutes? Actually, we're not doing that bad. Not as bad as I expected. I mean, granted, these later levels do get really long, so, you know, it takes more time to get through them. But I think we might still be able to get the good ending. All we have to do is just get to Jafar with time on the clock. That's it. And then I think your time basically just stops. So just like in other versions of the game, you know, this gate or this switch opens up that gate. The idea, though, is to hit this platform up top to keep it open permanently. And then that switch up top opens up the exit. And this is the level that also has the upside down mechanic as well. Come on, man. So in this version of the game, when you're moving left and right during combat, you can just hold the button. I oftentimes get into this rhythm where I'm trying to tap the button and it feels weird. You're not actually supposed to tap the button when you want to move back and forth in combat. In the other versions of the game, you do have to tap the button. In this version, you can just hold the button, and you'll move the fastest if you're just holding the button left or right. And this is one of those sections I was talking about in the Sega CD version, where these platforms up top fall. This switch will lower this gate right in front of me, and there's spikes here, and we have to get back in a certain amount of time. So this section is much harder in this version of the game than it is in other versions. It's an example of where they've made the game tougher, almost unnecessarily so. Alright, so we're going to jump over here, and then we're going to take the bottom route. Ooh, lucky. I was about to walk right over that switch, too, and I was like, wait, stop, Austin. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, so we're gonna come here and climb up this way. At least I thought we could. Oh, no, we can't climb up here. How do I want to do this? Alright, so what I need to do is do this. Bam. And then hang on to that. So this part is much trickier in this one, too. In the Sega CD one, or even the original computer one, there's another platform there that's solid that you can rest on safely. You basically just run across the block that falls down below. Not in this one. This one, you could say, requires more skill. And it really does. This version of Prince of Persia requires more skill than other versions. Like, definitely, without a doubt. Alright, so something I didn't really explain is you can sort of see where the falling blocks are just by jumping straight up. And so... And that's that. Let's see if we can get around this guy and just knock him down. Make our life easier. There he goes, just like that. More conveyor belt action. I'm not a fan of the conveyor belts in this game. It's very tricky to get that timing down. And I've died many times at the conveyor belts. So, unfortunately, we pretty much, I think in this version, we pretty much have to pick this up. And this is going to reverse the whole screen. So the thing is, like, pressing the up button still makes you jump up. And pressing down still makes you jump down, so it's very confusing. You know, come to think of it, we actually didn't need to get that potion. We just need to come down here. Sort of a leap of faith, if you will. Although, kind of interestingly, there's this health refill. But there's also a walkthrough wall up here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it safe. I'm not gonna chance it. I'm just gonna climb down into these spikes and then hold up, like so. Now the thing is, I don't remember what gate this opens. There we go. This is gonna reverse things. Phew, feel better already. Okay. Oh, jeez. Yeah, this level always confuses me, because there is a way to avoid the upside down effect. It's just, I always forget which potion actually gives me the health extend, and which one doesn't. So, that's a personal problem. And so basically, letting that block fall permanently raised the gate for me. And this, I think... Okay, no, didn't permanently raise it. Oh, we can't even crawl through. There's not enough time. Okay, well, we gotta do this all over again. And that's where the familiarity with the level design comes into play. Like, I totally forgot that gate doesn't stay down permanently. And there we go, that's the exit. So one of the mechanics I didn't really explain earlier is, you know, in classic Prince of Persia, you can hold down and hop across the screen. Well, in the Super Nintendo version, you can just hold the R trigger and press left or right. You can still do it the old-fashioned way, by holding down and just kind of going diagonally to the left or right. That's actually a mechanic that is mandatory to learn later on in this version of the game. In other versions, it's not mandatory. It does help if you know when to use it. Like, if a gate is like 2/3 of the way closed, like, you can't walk through it, but you can hop your way through it by crawling. So that is good to know. But again, in this version of the game, it's actually a mandatory thing later on. Alright, I think this is the level, yeah, this is the level with the teleporters, too. This is the only stage in the game that actually has teleporters. What we're gonna do is come down here first. I think we just come down here like so. And this is gonna reveal this teleporter. Guaranteed hit when he's in a corner. That's the trick to a lot of bosses in this game, by the way, is just cornering them. It's the trick with the final boss as well. We're gonna come over here to the right first. See, what do we got? Yeah, we want to kill this guy. Just knock him down. Just like so. And just leave him down there. And then now we're just going to go through these teleporters one by one. And we're going to go ahead and just come back down here, like so. And not down there, but we can go ahead and come back down here. And we're going to go ahead and take the teleporter again. Lots of back and forth stage design at this point in the game. And what I can do is come over here. This gate's going to be open now. So what I want to do is actually take the top way. And this actually confused me. When I first played this level, I didn't realize I can come up here. And I just ran around in circles and circles and circles, and it was pretty annoying. There's also a leap of faith here that I'm pretty sure is mandatory. It opens up a gate. Now there's actually a secret here, so this is why you want to come into this room. Free hits, get him cornered, get some free hits. So you basically just climb up here and you get this this hidden potion. This life extend. So it looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 hit points. That's actually pretty good. And that's a life refill if you need it. Alright, so now we're going to come right back down. And we're going to work our way to the right. Which we actually don't need to do. What we need to do is just come back here. Because we basically opened up this gate right here. And we're just going to take our time. And these are falling platforms. I think this is actually where you fight your doppelganger. That's right, we have to go here. So I've played so many other versions of this game now, back to back, that it's all blending together, and I keep forgetting which version does what. So Jafar basically, you know, meets you and throws away these platforms. If you try jumping down, you will die. But if you come back, you see your doppelganger. And the idea is not to fight him, but to press down to remove your sword, and then you just run into him. And basically what's going to happen now is this is going to make invisible platforms appear, just like that. And that's it. So that mechanic was actually in the original Prince of Persia. You know, you combine with your doppelganger again, and then it allows invisible platforms to appear. It's just the way it's handled in the Super Nintendo version is a little bit different. Alright, so these are the last stages in the game. They're very tricky. I didn't even see those spikes there. I wasn't paying attention. That was my fault. The holes were in the ground. I didn't even notice them, so. But yeah, this is where the levels start to get pretty tense. There's lots of vertical action. There's lots of very tight platforming, some leaps of faith, things like that. What I usually do is I just come over to the right, like so. And how much time do we have? 39 minutes. I think we'll be fine. And that was dumb on my part. I think we'll be fine as far as the best ending's concerned. We need to just make sure we don't mess up too much on these next couple of stages. Excuse me, man, I'm starting to cough for some reason. It's definitely turning into winter here right now. It is very, very cold outside, and everything's drying up. That could be why I'm coughing. Alright, just try to knock this guy off. Yeah, that works. And just come on up, like so. And, you know, if I wanted to, I could probably go to the right. Some new traps are introduced on this level as well. A lot of the traps in Prince of Persia on Super Nintendo, they basically all do the same thing. You know, they all chomp down in like a frame or two. They all kill you instantly. It's all pretty basic. You know, you get past them almost the same way. But, visually speaking, they are different, so it does mix things up, at least, which is nice. Whereas in other versions of Prince of Persia, you're getting killed by the same traps over and over and over again. Alright, so we're just gonna sort of jump down here like that. Another leap of faith. And some spikes. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. Just like, look at this, right? And another leap of faith here. Fortunately, this level isn't as bad as I think the next one. Here's a smasher. We haven't seen that thing in a while, actually. Let's make sure... Yeah, no falling platforms. Remember, if you want to see if there's falling platforms on the same floor as you, just jump straight up. And if it doesn't rumble or rattle, then you know there aren't any falling platforms. Same with touching the ceiling above you. You can play it safe here, and this is going to be a boss fight. Oh look, I had more health than him for a change. So just like in the other versions I was talking about, the Sega CD one in particular, you know, if you get into a combo stream back and forth with the enemy, like they keep counterattacking and you keep counterattacking, it's just one constant, you know, circle of counterattacks. You can just kind of keep tapping up and A back to back, like up A, up E, up E, up A, up A, up A up, etc., etc. And you should eventually override his combo. Now that works for basically every enemy in the game except for the final boss, and I'll explain that once we get there. So this is the part I was talking about where you actually have to use your crouch mechanic. And it's easiest to do it by just holding R and just pressing right or left. If you try to use just the D-pad to do it, it is possible. So you hold down and then you tap diagonally over. It's kind of cumbersome to do it that way. And this is a brand new unique boss just for this version of Prince of Persia. And he's a little tricky. You can't be too close to him, because if you do, your attacks won't actually connect. So you need to be you know, a couple feet away from him, a couple steps away from him, I should say. You gotta watch out for these jars or basket things that fall from the ceiling. And you'll notice like the frame rate dips here as well. It's one of the things I don't really like about this version is that there are some inconsistencies with performance, which kind of takes you out of the experience. You know, it's very fluid and like realistic at parts of the game, but then it's very choppy at other parts, and it just really takes you out of the experience. So I feel like that boss actually wouldn't have slowed down if they just, you know, minimized the amount of like buckets that were falling on your head, or maybe they just took them out completely. I don't know. That boss can actually be frustrating if you don't have that much health. You can just get wrecked by a bunch of those buckets falling on your head very, very quickly. Man, we are over an hour and a half on this Let's Play. That's a long Let's Play for me. Alright, which way do I want to go? Let's go this way. Alright, so another trap here. You notice like there's these little sparkly things down below. if you touch those, you die instantly. Like, you can just walk right into them, and you'll die instantly. So the idea is to let these falling platforms do their job, and then what you need to do is come down here, trigger this falling platform, and then run back over, like so. And you'll notice there was also another slicer and dicer up top. It's one of the new traps. But it basically operates just like, you know, the gridded chompers. So we're going to try to jump over here and just grab onto the ledge. And just time your jumps. And we're going to take the top way, because there's no possible way to go to the bottom way. Unless you want to die. I mean, death is always an option in Prince of Persia. Okay, so we're going to need to do a full running jump here. Just like so. That's going to fall. You're going to grab on this platform. And if you come down here, you die! Just like so. Oh, we didn't actually die. Oh, that's good. No secrets. See, I don't know if it's possible to get back up. I guess we're going to find out. Actually, no, we're dead. I don't think we can, yeah, we can't even reach over there, unfortunately. It's not possible. I don't think it's possible. No, it is. Okay. Sorry, I was thinking of a different platform. Okay, good, we made it. I thought we were dead. We'd have to do it over again. And I mistimed that. So we do have to do it over again. $33 minutes left. Now the last level... we're on level 18 actually. We only have one more real stage after this. So the last level could be a bit of a pain. Like, so I actually want to try something here. I do not think it's possible to jump over these. Yeah, see? You get teleported to your demise. Well, now we know. So, you don't want to fall over into them. You don't want to fall into them. And you obviously don't want to try to jump over them either. Yeah, see, what I was wondering is if I could go the bottom route first, flip the switch that's necessary, and then take the top route. Because the top route is really tricky to get past. Yeah, it's really tricky to get past when you've got the spikes up there and there's a gap between the spikes. So, just another example of how, like, they just made things extremely devious in this version of the game. Broken record, I know, but it's crazy. Ooh, and that didn't work. I was expecting it to work. Ugh. Man. Okay, so you actually have to come over here, jump like this, grab onto the ledge, or not jump onto the ledge, you know, just not have it work, because, you know, that works too, I guess, just not have it work. There we go. See, that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. The physics in this game feel a little inconsistent at times. Like, something works at one point, and then it doesn't work at another point. And I feel like it just requires pixel-perfect precision. Yeah, so I do find that interesting, though, that you have to land on that block, but or that platform, but then you could still land on this one down here by doing a full running jump. I think that's pretty interesting. There we go. Gonna take it slow. Alright, running jumps required, and then there's another gimmick here. The gimmick is to die. You know. So the gimmick is that you have to run and jump to the gate, but you have to make sure you don't press A too soon, otherwise you'll grab onto a falling block and then fall to your death. It's pretty ridiculous, actually. I mean, it's fun being able to do it and pull it off, but figuring it out is just a pain. And so what'll happen is you'll fall down to those spikes over to the left. That's why those spikes are even there. Let's try something. No secrets. Okay, I just wanted to check. I was like, why not? You know, as you could probably tell, I don't know all the secrets in this game. And that's usually how I am with games. I don't usually 100% the games in terms of finding like all the secrets and stuff like that. And then just hold A, and then just hold up. Alright, let's do this. Run and jump, run and jump, and run and jump, and I effed it up again. See, that's what I was talking about, is if you press A too early, you'll hang on to that block, you'll fall to your death, and then you gotta do the whole stage over again. So, 28 minutes left. That's not actually looking good for us, because the last level after this can be quite tough. And actually, if I really wanted to, what I could do is get the password for this stage, like so, and then we'll be able to restart the stage with all of our, you know, the amount of time we had coming into the level. I don't believe the password changes between deaths, so that is something to keep in mind. Wow, I am having a hell of a time with this now. But that's what I was talking about on the fire stages, is, you know, once I start dying a bunch of times, like, I start losing focus. My focus has gone away by that point, and I just continue to lose focus as I continue to play. And that's where part of the challenge comes from in this game, is, you know, it's an endurance. It's a battle with endurance, and if you don't have the endurance, you are probably going to die. A lot. Alright, so let's try this again. I mean, when you're just like blazing through this game without stopping, the game looks... it is quite stylish, you know? And it's definitely something to behold, but when you're constantly dying left and right, though, not only does it not look stylish, but it also feels awful when you're playing it. Because a lot of this stuff is avoidable. It's just, it's dependent on your level of execution, you know, your level of experience with the game, your level of focus. Probably, you know, on top of all of that. There we go. So tricky. So tricky. And we don't even need that potion. So, funny thing here is... the potion on the right is a health extend. The potion on the left will kill you instantly. So we need to just rush past and get past him. What is cool, though, is that we just hit a checkpoint. So if I die again, we start right back there. It's one of the few points in the game where there's a checkpoint. But that also means the level's continuing. So if you thought that was the end of the stage, nope, sorry. Got a little bit more to go. Alright, just corner him, just like that. Let's go ahead and trip that. Okay, it's not necessary to trip that. Okay, so we have to do some running jumps here too. And this one, what I'm going to do is do a running jump and then jump again and then stop. And you'll see why. I mean, or I could just, you know, just not jump at all. That works too. It does sometimes, you know, depending on what your goals are. So that puts us back even further. I'm gonna just skip that potion. It's okay. I don't really need it. I don't want to spend much more time at this. Alright, let me see where the platform is. Oh yeah, it's very short on this one. And I'm pretty sure if you jump... Okay, so that's actually something good to figure out. I wasn't quite sure if platforms that don't connect together would jiggle, even if you're on like the same level. So it appears they don't jiggle, even if there's a gap between them, they won't jiggle. So that's interesting to know. I didn't know that, actually, so just figured something out, or just verified something on the Let's Play, which is nice. "23 minutes left. We're going to be cutting this close. If I get the bad ending, what I'll do is do what I did on stream, and I'll put in a password for, you know... Holy crap, what am I doing? Ah, I'm not focusing right now. This Let's Play spirals downhill quickly, and of course right at the end of the Let's Play too. You know, if it spirals downhill at the beginning of the Let's Play, I can just stop and restart. But when we're, you know, almost 2 hours in, I'm not restarting this. I'm not redoing 2 hours worth of gameplay. I have done it before, but it is not a good feeling at all. So I just try to persevere and just press forward. You know, hopefully it's making for, you know, entertaining Let's Play action for you guys. But for me, it's a little aggravating right now. Okay. Okay. So jump and then stop. This is why you stop. If you keep going, you will probably die. And there's just so much stuff to these levels. So we're gonna basically gonna climb up here. Try to kill this guy. So with these slicers up top, I don't know if it's possible to just like baby step your way like between them. I'm not gonna risk it, honestly. I'm not gonna try. But what you want to do is come down here and fall like so, just like this. That's how you get past this in time. And another boss fight. Now it is possible to corner this boss in either corner. So we're gonna go ahead and just try that. Again, I'm repeating up and A back to back. Not simultaneously, but just one after another. Got him cornered. He's cornered up against that gate on the other side. 20 minutes left. So we have 20 minutes to get through this and the final level. That final level is tough, man. It's really confusing. But that's okay. I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. If I don't succeed on the final level in time, I'll use a password to show you guys the final boss. Because I feel bad spending 2 hours and not being able to show you the final boss. That actually happened to me in my last practice session. I kept dying at these last couple of levels. Not this level so much as the next one coming up. This is also kind of where, like I was talking about earlier, where like it feels like they kind of went overboard on the combat in this version. It just really slows things down with how large the, you know, the stages are themselves. So you get all the way up here and there's another guy to fight, and you're just like, please, really? Come on. You're just really trying to just chip away. You're just trying to chip away at me, game. Alright, so level 19. This is the last real level in the game, so we're going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. Let's hope for the best. See, this is where, like, you start feeling the pressure, because you're like, oh, I only have 19 more minutes. And I forgot about that, too. I always forget about that. The music also kind of drones on, too. I mean, it sounds fine at first, but then after you've heard it for 40 minutes straight, because you keep dying, it gets old. Alright, so there's a bunch of parts in this level where falling blocks will permanently hit a switch. And there's a whole lot of reset switches as well. And that's one of the reasons why this level is just super, super annoying. And it's actually really aggravating that they even included this level in the game. It might have been cool if there was like a secret level, but for it to be like a mandatory final stage, it's supremely aggravating. I mean, they added so much to this game as is. I really feel like this level didn't even need to exist in a way. So we're just gonna come up here, flip one of these switches. And actually, I probably don't even need to go down the bottom way. I could probably just go this way first. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. Yeah, the level design is so confusing, too. I mean, obviously everything looks the same. So for right here, I have to come over here, flip this switch, and then quickly get up. And you only have one chance to do this. Once these blocks fall down, I don't think it's possible to do this. You have to jump through and then grab onto this, just like that. And we're gonna make this platform fall. Turn around real quick and then grab on, just like so. And I'm gonna actually move over to the right here, then jump. Because what I found is if you're too far over to the left, you might actually just fall completely down, which is not good. And we're gonna come this way. That closes that gate. And let's come up here. I don't think coming up top does anything, but there is, yeah, a platform we have to make fall down, which is going to permanently open this switch right here. And I don't think this really does anything for us. No, it doesn't. So let's go ahead and hit this. And I'm going to jump over this switch. Okay, yeah, so this is open. And we're basically going to run over to here. And then we're going to come up top here. Just look at this. So confusing, isn't it? It's absolutely ridiculous. And we're gonna step down here slowly. And lots of redundant level design. You just come back up, jump over to the left. Just to make sure this gate stays open. That switch might have an effect on another gate. It's just hard to tell. So we're gonna come down here. And now we're gonna sort of climb down like so. That opens up that gate. So you'll notice where there's like some rubble down there, that's where one of the platforms fell. There's another switch there. So I think that's basically the gimmick of this level. It's triggering the falling platforms to make switches permanently appear. And that's basically it. Like, we're gonna go ahead and come this way too. I don't think it's necessary. Yeah, I really don't feel it's necessary, but we're gonna do it anyway. Yeah, it was unnecessary. So we're gonna go ahead and come back over here. 14 minutes left. So you can see how slow this level goes. It's just super slow. Super duper slow. Alright, so I think one of these gates that was originally closed will now be open. So I think it's up here. Yeah, this gate. Just gonna hop over. And we're gonna hop back over here. And so the goal is to try to get this top left gate open. And we kind of just messed that up, actually. Yeah, so now what we're going to need to do is fall down, like so. And we kind of messed up our opportunity, too. No, actually, we didn't. And, you know, there's a health extend there. I'm not even going to worry about it. I just want to get through this level with time. That's all I care about right now. So we need to flip this switch just by tapping it, like so. And it looks like we might actually have this level on our first try. But you can see how it's just supremely confusing. Yeah, this is pretty much it. And so this is a boss rush. And the trick is just to get all these bosses cornered to take them out as fast as you can. 12 minutes left. Just like so. And rinse and repeat. And it looks like the bosses have the same amount of health that they did when you first fought them. So now what I'm doing here with the combat, you can't do this against the final boss. You have to basically parry, and then wait, and then attack. It's super weird. It took me forever to figure out. So hopefully we don't have too much trouble at the final boss. I'm just going to take it slow here, because I don't... Okay. Like I said, I haven't committed a lot of this to my memory, so I'm like, okay, is there going to be a pit on the next screen, or is there going to be a trap? So I just try to take it really slow. So that's great. We got through that level in the first try. We've got barely any time left, but we're pretty much good. So this is it, guys. Level 20. Something's kind of fun here. If you sit here, you'll actually see a image of the princess come up. Even if she's dead, if you get here with no time, she still pops up. Alright, so now we basically go to a fight with Jafar, and he's got two phases. One that can kill you instantly. He basically shoots these magic projectiles at you, and the projectiles can do one of three things. So what I like to do is just wait for him to fire them, and this is it. This is the instant kill one. One of them can instant kill you. Bam. So this fight can be insanely frustrating. You get all the way to the end of the game, and he can kill you in one hit, depending. So basically, the projectile can either hurt you by taking just one hit point off, or it can raise you up into the air and then smash you to the ground. That takes another hit point off. Or he can bring you up into the air and then throw a fireball at you, and you die instantly. So what I prefer to do is to try to attack his projectiles. It is possible to reflect them like that, but the timing is super weird. You'll notice that the frame rate kind of like dips a little bit in this part. The fireball just kind of, his projectile goes across the screen kind of choppy, so it makes timing it difficult. And I've noticed that he can also pin you. He can also pin you with multiple projectiles like this, see? And there's nothing you can do about it. There's no dodge rolling or anything like that. So this boss fight always takes me a few tries. I mean, the first form especially is very inconsistent for me, so I apologize for my lackluster play in this playthrough, guys. Normally I try to play these games better, or I try to practice the games more before doing a let's play of them, but I feel like even if I'm really well practiced at this game, I'm still going to be inconsistent at this boss fight. Alright, so 3 more hits, and then he goes to his other form. Yeah, the best way for me to do this is just usually to wait, attack the projectile like so. The timing's got to be just right, though, like I said. And here we go. And so now we need to parry, and then wait, and then attack. Like so. And the timing is just got to be just right. So what I'm doing is I'm actually waiting. I'm not pressing A immediately after. Because basically what can happen is you could do this all day. You will never win. And then you just corner him like so. So in a way, the second form is actually easier than the first form, if you know what to do. And that's it. We just beat the game. It took us, 2 hours to do it, but, we did it. So there is more of an ending in this one than there is in some of the other versions of the game, but a lot of it is just a huge credits roll. But still, I actually prefer the ending of this game than I do in some of the other ones. And I just realized that the mouse is sitting on top of his head. That's funny. Alright, so classic, Super Nintendo style ending sequence where it basically just shows you parts of the game, and then the credits roll happens. Oh, man. So yeah, that's Prince of Persia on the Super Nintendo, guys. It actually wasn't a planned Let's Play. I wasn't planning on doing this at all, but I decided to sit down with the game over the weekend, and I ended up beating it on my first try. And then the next day I went and I ran through it again as practice, and then I used passwords to practice the final boss, and here we are now. And what's actually funny about that is I started off with the Super Nintendo version over the weekend, but that led me into the Sega CD version as well as other versions of the game, like the Master System and the Sega Genesis version. I ended up beating the Sega CD version as well after this, and that's why that Let's Play came to be as well. I was like, well, I'm well practiced at these games. I might as well Let's Play them back to back. And so hopefully you guys aren't too Prince of Persia'd out, but I would like to tackle some of the other versions later on in my Let's Play career. You know, I'd like to do the Xbox Live Arcade version in particular, because it's a pretty fun game. You feel a little more acrobatic in it, and you don't quite feel as threatened with your environments. You still have to be careful, but it is a faster playing game. I think it'll be really fun to show that one off. I think that one is still available too. I think you can still buy it, Prince of Persia Classic, on Xbox Live Arcade. I think it is still there. But yeah, I mean, it was cool being able to do these two versions of Prince of Persia, because they're the ones I grew up with and probably played the most besides the Game Gear version, which the Game Gear version is, you know, effectively the Master System one, just with the smaller, you know, screen size. And I don't think I'm going to Let's Play that one. I tried practicing that over the weekend as well, and just the combat feels gimpy. It definitely does not feel that good. So while I'd be able to get through the platforming and things like that, I think I'd have an issue with the combat, and I would just get killed left and right. The same goes with the Genesis version. So the Western... There's some Western developed versions of Prince of Persia on the Game Gear, Master System, Genesis, etc. And they don't feel very good. Like the platforming is fine, but the combat was just completely gimped in all those versions of the game. And so I feel like you probably won't ever see a Let's Play of those games on my channel, which is kind of a shame, because I did also grow up with the Game Gear version. You know, that was one of my most played Game Gear games, actually. I was really a big fan of Prince of Persia back when I was a kid. Starting with the Super Nintendo one, but then I got the Game Gear one, and then later I got the Sega CD one. And I played them all probably equally, and really enjoyed all of them as a kid. But some of them just don't hold up well. The Game Gear one being one, and the Master System and the Genesis one. Which is kind of a shame, because I would like to do those eventually. So... But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed these Let's Plays of both the Sega CD and Super Nintendo Prince of Persia. Again, these were not planned at all. A lot of my Let's Plays I try to plan, but some of them, they just kind of come out of nowhere, and that's what these Let's Plays were. I wasn't expecting to be able to get through this game consistently anytime soon without lots and lots of practice, but I spent 2 nights practicing on Twitch, and here we are now. So, but yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. Not really sure what else I've got on my plate. You know, I'm not even sure what I'm going to post these Let's Plays. I had 2 Dreamcast Let's Plays recorded. I might try to post these in between those, or at least one of these in between those, just to mix things up. So maybe I'll go Dreamcast, Sega CD, Dreamcast, Super Nintendo, and that's how I'll do the Let's Play structure. And then I'm probably going to try to do a Nintendo property after... I'll probably end up doing a Nintendo property game after this. Like a Kirby or a Super Mario Brothers or something like that. That's for the Patreon backers. So, but that is pretty much it, guys. The end. You know, again, Prince of Persia and Super Nintendo heavily expanded over the computer versions it was based on. And I think it's a great game, but I think it's also a frustrating game. And you guys have heard me vent about the game for the last 2 hours, so I don't think I need to say it again. But I don't think it's too expensive. If you want to check it out, if you're a collector and you play on, you know, the original cartridges, I don't think it's very expensive. It's probably still a $15 or $20 cartridge by itself. Obviously, the price goes up if you want to get complete in box. Or you can just play the flash cart like I do, and, you know, life is a whole lot easier. But if you are a collector, it's not too expensive, and I think it's definitely worth having in the collection. And I don't know if the graphic style was intentional or not, but it really looks like a Konami game, even though it's really not a Konami game. Konami published it in North America. They did not publish it in Japan, and yet it still looks like a Konami game, and it has that early Konami look to it, you know, like Super Castlevania 4, for instance. So it definitely fits among those Konami releases, I feel, if you buy the North American one. That was definitely worth owning if you're a fan of Konami stuff on Super Nintendo. Even though they just published it in North America, it still feels like a Konami game because of that graphic style and the sound. You know, it's really good stuff. So, but yeah, if you do check it out, let me know what you think of the game. If you've played any of the Prince of Persia before, let me know what you think of the game in the comments section below. And until the next video, guys, I'm out, and take it easy.